if you don't know history or just how borders are, if you didn't know, India and Pakistan really doesn't have a border. They have a border land. So how is the relationship with Pakistan and India now? Still not that good. Sidharth with the blue futon, reviewing Mission Majnu, if I'm saying that right, Majnu. So what's this about? Pretty simple premise, actually. So during, the Cold War era, you have nuclear weapons going on. And Pakistan and India wanted to make it. However, Pakistan did something to the community, say India is doing extremely bad with their nuclear weapon, and they got their shit knocked out. But in the background, Pakistan was doing their own thing, and now you have spies from India and Pakistan trying to denuclearize that zone. Do they succeed? We will find out. So, not like this film. I thought it was a pretty good, average spy movie. The big issue I have with this is they put too much soap opera elements into this film. Is this based on a true story or the true event of this spy? But I really want to know what was actually true or not. Was it true of him just being there and taking some pictures? Or was his wife actually blind and that occurred? I don't know. It just felt very fake on that level. So let's talk about the positives of the story. I think as an outsider, not knowing the story is very fascinating about this element of if this guy's dad was really, betraying India and his wife was actually blind and he had to correlate with these people hating him from India while he's in Pakistan while doing this mission for his motherland in India, or fatherland, or motherland, or whatever you want to call it, his homeland. Let's put it that way, his homeland of India. So I did like that back and forth element with that story. It did add more complexity to the different characters. And like I said, this was about a 2-hour movie, and it zoomed by pretty quick with all the characters involved. I was never bored, and I was never confused with what each character's dilemmas were and what they're trying to do at the end of the movie. I do feel like the end of the movie was thrilling, but kind of unbelievable with how the gunplay occurred in the airport with the martial arts that occurred. It just felt like, could this really happen? Like, really, would the Pakistanis really just gun down motherfuckers just left and right in India or mostly in Pakistan? Like, oh, civilians, they're just whatever. And it makes you think maybe because, that's what nations would do in general. Like, oh, civilian casualties, whatever. Every nation probably does that. They just don't like to admit it. So we will see, so that's all I'm going to say. So maybe that is somewhat believable, but not at an airport. Just my opinion. And I do think the acting overall was a solid endeavor. Like, you understand each character. Each character had their own personality. So you're like, yep, I know that's kind of the goofball, but he's trusted. I know this guy's more serious. I know what they're trying to do. And it was smart with some of the scenarios of, radioactive activity, hair, coats. So you're like, okay, it makes sense. As a person not knowing the story and not knowing anything about this situation, it's mostly believable of what they're trying to do to see what Pakistan is doing. But to me, like I said already, the biggest issues is a soap opera as well as the ending. I enjoyed the ending, but the more you think about being a true story, you're like, how true is what they're portraying on screen? And like I said, the whole blind wife, I want to know how true that actually is of just storytelling moments. That's even though that doesn't seem like a big fault, it truly was a huge falter for me because you have this background, if you want to put it, about this spy story, but it just felt like 30 to 45 minutes was this soap opera of I understand what you're trying to do with the father and who's he going to kill, or is the people from India going to try to backstab the spy? And it just keeps coming back to this blind girl's family, and I'm just like, give me more of that, but less of the, lovey-dovey stuff. So overall, Mission Majnu, I think it's a perfectly serviceable spy film. It kept me on my edge of my toes some of the times, but other times I was just like, how believable really is this true story? I think that falters pretty heavily for a movie like this. So Mission Majnu, Majnu will receive a 3 out of 5 with Futon, which equals at 60%. Let's see the critics' news scores gave this one. Damn, the critics hated it. 27% with 11 of them. Audience score 64%. Not bad. Kind of with me with over 100 no critic consensus. So yeah, I'm kind of with the audience score. I watched it. It was 2 hours. I enjoyed myself, but there were glaring issues overall. 60, 64, 27. Chase Hawk with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think is Futon Top. You Futon anything out. Have a freaking fantastic day. And I wonder. I think the next Indian movie I am gonna watch is the one from the director of RRR and the Fly one that's on Netflix. I just need to sit down and watch that one. I've heard it was bad, but I've also heard it was great. We will see.